The following program is a presentation of AT&T Broadband's SJTV.
San Joaquin Television. SJTV.
Welcome from the Thompson Sports Complex on the St. Mary's High School campus for the SJTV Sports High School Football Game of the Week. As tonight, the St. Mary's Rams host the Lincoln Trojans for the SJA's #1 seed in the postseason. Hello everyone, I'm Eric Alves. Lincoln is 7-0 in SJAA play, while St. Mary's is 6-1. St. Mary's will have to play their best game of the season if they hope to end Lincoln's 21-game SJAA unbeaten streak. This season, Lincoln has outscored the opposition in league play 342-52 if you include the Edison game. Also, they have the area's leading rusher and leading scorer in Lewis Rankin. For the first time since 1998, it's the Trojans and Rams for the SJAA championship on the SJTV Sports High School Football Game of the Week. In the last 3 seasons, Lincoln is 20-0-1 in SJAA play, 21-0-1 if you include the Edison game from this year. The last league loss for the Lincoln Trojans came on November the 12th, 1999, and it came at the hands of St. Mary's. In that game, St. Mary's was victorious 34-12. As I mentioned in the open as well, the last time these two teams played for the championship back in 1998 on this field on November the 13th. In that game, Lincoln came in at 9-0. St. Mary's was 8-1 with their only loss coming at the hands of Franklin. St. Mary's was victorious in that game, defeating Lincoln 28-7. And St. Mary's and Lincoln that year tied for the championship. That is the goal for St. Mary's tonight, to hand Lincoln their first SJAA loss, not only this year, but since 1999. Mike Godfrey and Alex Cook, the captains for the St. Mary's Rams. Lincoln has been very impressive in rolling up their 8-1 record, while St. Mary's is 6-3. Game of great importance for each team. Lincoln, even if they lose, they are at worst the #2 seed in the SJAA as far as the postseason is concerned, and they would host a first-round playoff game. If St. Mary's loses, they could fall as far as the #4 seed. That's if both West defeats Tracy and Tokay defeats Lodi. The three-way tie, St. Mary's would lose by virtue of their non-league loss to Jesuit. Fair or not, that is the way it goes. There's our referee, Craig Plant, throwing the coin. Alex Cook, who may see time at tailback tonight for St. Mary's, as they're without Jeff Johnson. St. Mary's won the toss, but they defer, and they will give the ball to Lincoln first. A Lincoln offense that has scored 383 points this year, an average of 42 points per game. In their last 5 games, Lincoln is scoring 49 points per game. This year, Lincoln has almost doubled the total of St. Mary's, 383 to 202. Pretty impressive for Lincoln, considering St. Mary's is also a playoff team. So the winner of this game is the #1 seed, and as far as they win, they would be at home until potentially maybe the semifinal. But if St. Mary's loses, they could fall all the way to the 4th seed. We know for sure the playoff teams in the SJAA are Tokay, West, St. Mary's, and Lincoln. Just not sure yet what the order is. And the same can be said for the CCC, and those are the 2 leagues that will play one another in reverse order, 1 against 4, 4 against 1. In the CCC, for sure, Merced is the #1 seed, but after that, it's a combination of Davis, Atwater, and Turlock. So it'll be the Trojans to get it first out of the kick of Ryan Rogers. Back deep, 2 of the most dangerous return men around, if not the 2 most dangerous return men in Brian Parker and Lewis Rankin. Parker has taken 2 kicks back for touchdowns this year. Rankin 1. In total, Parker has 4 returns, 2 on punts and 2 on kicks. Capacity house here in the Thompson Sports Complex for the #1 seed in the SJAA. Maybe the best rivalry going. St. Mary's and Lincoln. And we are underway. St. Mary's does kick it deep. It's Rankin from the 6. He will try it up the middle of the field. Rankin, he may be gone. At midfield, has only the kicker to get past. Shakes him. Lewis Rankin takes it 94 yards, and there's your statement right there. The Trojans score on the opening play of the game. The kick return from Rankin, 94 yards. He took one back 88 against Tokay. And I harken back to 1999. It was earlier in the season, but Tokay and Stag doing battle, two teams that were undefeated in SJAA play, and Lance Martin took the opening kick back for a touchdown. So Rankin, 94 yards on that kick, and it was just a burst of speed. He was second in the 100 meters in the SJAA last year in track, won the 200, and you can see why. Nick O'Brien on for the hold for the Trojans. How do you like that? Rankin's 27th touchdown of the season, by far and away the leader in the area. Noah St. Urban adds the PAT, so just like that, 7-0 Trojans. And St. Mary's is going to have to play from behind, which is the last thing they needed to have happen. Rankin, you saw him, it's almost like he caught his breath and then just took off, gave the little shake to the kicker, Rogers, and he was gone. He was so fast we had to use 4 different shots to follow him. Lewis Rankin, it was almost like he was toying with St. Mary's there on special teams. So Lincoln now has taken 4 kickoffs back for touchdowns this year and 2 punts as well. They score on special teams, offense, defense, you name it. Rankin for the year now, that's 162 points. The next closest player, Courtney Smith, who has 100. So he has scored 66 more points, or 11 touchdowns more than the second leading scorer in the area. You can see the fog starting to roll in, and you wonder if the fog has already rolled in on St. Mary's. It's early, but Lincoln, their closest game in league this year, has been 29-6 to Tokay. They have not been challenged since losing their opener, 42-41 to Granite Bay. Since then, 8 consecutive wins for Lincoln. And they make a statement on the game's opening kickoff. Here it is one more time. Lewis Rankin, I don't know if he was touched. I really don't think he was. Look at this move right here. True was against the kicker, Ryan Rogers, but got him to bite, and of course he has the speed factor. So now it'll be Reynard Camp to kick it off for the Trojans, and let's see what St. Mary's can do. A short kick that's a live ball. Thomas Quarles from about the 22 for St. Mary's. And he is shy of the 30. Special teams tackle by Matt Seamus. He will start at a linebacker as well. Quarles returns it up to the 29. The St. Mary's offense, they will have Barry Enright at quarterback, his 3rd varsity game, his 2nd start behind him. It could be Alex Gonzalez. We could see Thomas Quarles. It could be Alex Cook at tailback. Rodrigo Cortez, Brunswick, and Dixon the receivers. Pisano the tight end. Tozy, Godfrey, Harada, Harrison, and Gibson on the offensive line. Out of the shotgun, Enright, plenty of time. Passes almost intercepted. It was tipped. Matt Seamus was sitting in the zone, and he couldn't pick it off, but he is one of the best Mike linebackers around in the middle. Here is the Lincoln defense. At nose, it is Chris Matsuoka, among the team's best defensive players. The tackles, Henry Sock and Stephen Eberly. The rush in is Anthony Robinson. The strong side linebacker is Reynard Camp. Will is Ashland Washington. In the middle, it's Seamus. The corners are Brown on Parker. The safeties, Delonzo and Urban. Alex Gonzalez runs it on 2nd down. Gets a couple. Matsuoka, the first man to get to him. So maybe 2 for Gonzalez. Jeff Johnson, the team's leading rusher, who's over 1,000 yards at 1,038, sprained his ankle on the first play of the second half last Saturday against Stag. Of course, that game originally supposed to be played on Friday at UOP, but due to the rain, it was not. 3rd and 8 for St. Mary's. They're down 7-0. Opening possession for the Rams. Enright, option toss, Alex Gonzalez, and he is brought down. Play made by Matt Seamus. So Seamus, a special teams tackle, a near interception, and now a defensive tackle here in the first minute of the game. Look at it one more time. Open field tackle there by Seamus, playing the same position that Octavio Cruces and Mark Rubalcaba played recently for the Trojans. So quickly a 3-and-out for the Rams. Brent Collins on to punt with Parker and Rankin back deep. High snap. Anthony Robinson almost able to block it. He already has a block this year. It's Parker at the 36, and he will end up right around the 40. There is a flag that comes in. And so we'll see our referee, Craig Plant. Legal block going against the Trojans. The rest of the officiating crew, as I said, the referee is Craig Plant. The umpire is Dave Wallace. The head linesman is Mark Faring. The back judge is Dave Howell. And the line judge is Jerry Jones. Alternate is Jerry Van Bergen. Penalty will give it to Lincoln at the 30. They are on top 7-0 on the strength of the 94-yard kickoff return to open the game by Lewis Rankin. We'll get you the Lincoln offense after this play. Their quarterback is junior Brian Korenick. Rankin takes it, and he will be gone. Lewis Rankin, 70 yards. He has touched the ball twice and has 2 touchdowns, a kick return of 94, and now a run of 70. He right now is a man among boys. 70 yards, simple play, left side of the field. Rankin takes it, and we don't even have a chance to introduce the offense to you, but Lewis Rankin, 28 touchdowns now on the season. He has touched the ball twice, and he has scored twice, a 70-yard rush and a 94-yard kick return. My goodness. St. Urban on for another extra point. And that kick is good. 14-0 Lincoln, 10:02 to play in the first quarter. Lincoln has had their hands on the ball twice, and more importantly, I guess you could say 3 times if you include the punt. So 3 times Lincoln has had a chance to score. They've scored twice. And Rankin, he was barely touched. Alex Cook, the Mike linebacker, got a piece of him, and then there was nobody anywhere close to Rankin. Once he got 3 yards beyond the line of scrimmage, you knew it was a touchdown because, first of all, he's the fastest man on the field. The official, though, giving good chase. And Rankin putting on a show as if he hasn't done so already this year. Now he's at 1,440 yards, and depending how deep into the playoffs Lincoln goes, he could have a chance at a lot of records. The school record is Tyrone Gross. Gross 2,150 yards in the 2000 section championship run and 34 touchdowns. So Rankin now up to 28 touchdowns and 1,440. St. Mary's down 14-0, not even 2 minutes into this game. Reynard Camp, the sophomore, kicks it off again for Lincoln. He might have a busy night kicking away. Richard Dixon from the 10 for the Rams. And Dixon is tripped up. Nice special teams play by Ross Gunter. Ball spot at the 28 for St. Mary's. Already down 14-0. Still all kinds of time. You see Gunter come in and trip up Dixon. Barry Enright at quarterback. Didn't start the year with the team. Came on after the season started, and now he is the starter. The fullback, Cortez, has a first down. Rodrigo Cortez, but there is a flag. He gets across the 45, but we'll have to wait and see. Cortez in there because Luke Masgay is done for the season with an ACL injury, but a hold against St. Mary's. So the run by Cortez of about 16, maybe 17 yards is called back. Let's look at the schedules. First for Lincoln, as I said, the Trojans lost in their opener 42-41 to Granite Bay, but since then they have been obliterating people. Their closest league game in week 2, 29-6 versus Tokay. Look what they did against West, a playoff team, 33-7 on the 4th of October, and then 42, 55, 48, 48, 52 in their last 5 games, averaging 49 in their last 5, and they've already scored 14 in the game's first 2 minutes. We'll get you to St. Mary's schedule in just a bit. First down at about 6 because of the penalty. Option toss. Gonzalez takes it from Enright. Gets to the 35. Gain of maybe 4. It'll be second and, shall we say, 3. St. Mary's, on the other hand, has had to battle through their schedule. They lost their opener 9-0 to Jesuit. Back-to-back losses to Edison and West. Came back with probably their biggest win of the season, 26-16 against Tokay to this point. Second and 3 from the 35. Gonzalez again dives forward. It'll be close to a first down. As the players on pile, Matsuoka there. Matsuoka, Eberle, Robinson, and Sock on that defensive line. So Gonzalez about a yard short here, 3rd and 1. He is carried 4 times in the contest already for 11 yards, as St. Mary's is without Jeff Johnson. And there's the fullback, Cortez, who had the big gainer that was called back. Gonzalez, he gets lost in the pile and does not have the first down. Reynard Camp and Matsuoka. Camp, the sophomore who plays strong side linebacker. His dad, Reggie, the freshman coach, and of course used to play in the National Football League with the Cleveland Browns. An outstanding Lincoln defense, the number 2 defense in the area as far as points yielded at 94 in total. Almost half of those coming in the opener to Granite Bay. And Lincoln is the number 1 offense in the area. So on 3rd and short, St. Mary's cannot convert. Brent Collins will punt. This one is a short snap. Good punt, line drive. Brian Parker will watch it roll down at the 15-yard line. So Lincoln will be pinned back in their own territory, down by Thomas Quarles. But the Trojans lead 14-0 here 4.5 minutes into our contest. Talking about that St. Mary's schedule, the 2 losses in a row, Edison and West. Of course, as most people know, games against Edison do not count in teams' SJAA standings. That's why St. Mary's is 6-1 as opposed to 6-2 with the losses to Edison and West. Lincoln, the only team, obviously, to have beaten Edison, but it really does them no good. On first down, so Peter Mao. John Novella comes up from a safety to make a play. Also John Gibson in there as well. So let's look at the offense for Lincoln. We haven't had a chance yet. Their quarterback, a junior, he's a good one, Brian Kornick. Behind him, so Peter Mao, and the fullback is Lewis Rankin, but of course in name only. The wingback is Brian Parker. The split end is Raleigh Gunter. Tight end is Nick O'Brien. The offensive line, Castile and Carter on the left side. In the center, Kamayo Pili, and the right side, Seamus and Baron Davis. Mao on that play, no gain. So it is 2nd down and 10. Up the middle with Rankin again. Another juke move, and Lewis Rankin may not be caught. He's at the 30. He's at the 20, and it's a touchdown again. Lewis Rankin, this one of 85 yards. This is positively ridiculous. Lewis Rankin in this game has touched the ball 3 times. He has a 95-yard kickoff return for a touchdown, a 70-yard run for a touchdown, and now an 85-yard run for a touchdown. He has touched it 3 times. There's 6:27 to go in the first quarter, and he has 3 touchdowns. And he's been touched once, maybe twice. In the fog, Rankin invisible right now to the St. Mary's defense, eluding them left and right. I don't know if I've ever seen a performance quite like this. St. Urban, I should say. 21-0 as the point after is good. Lewis Rankin, 29 touchdowns, and it seems like they've all come in this game. A good look at it. Rankin takes it, and I think he was maybe hit on the ankle, and then once he gets in the secondary, there's no chance. And look at that move right there. Nobody's going to catch him. He and Chris Henry are the fastest players in the league. And that is not a replay of an earlier touchdown. That's 3 times now for Lewis Rankin. Send that to the college recruiters. Who wouldn't want him? Rankin at 6'2", 185. was called up to varsity when he was a sophomore for the playoff run, the section championship run. He was 5'8", 150 as a sophomore, so he's grown a bit. And last year he had 1,000 yards and 13 touchdowns. This year now he's up to 29, and he's over 1,500 yards. He has 2 carries on the ground for 155 yards, throwing the 94-yard kick return, and he has 249 yards of total offense on 3 carries. He's playing in the wrong league. Maybe it should be 3 letters. Short kick that's bobbled by Seth McGinnity. St. Mary's covers inside the 23. And we still haven't got to the St. Mary's defense because Lincoln is scoring so quick. They've had 3 offensive plays so far. Has to be Tony Frank's worst nightmare. There's his quarterback, Barry Enright, Coach Frank's second tour at St. Mary's. Was the head man 84 through 87, took the Rams to the playoffs in 84 and 85. Has them back this year after he was an assistant at Santa Clara for a couple of years and over a decade at UC Davis. From the 23, even though it is 21-0, I guess St. Mary's can't panic. Here's Enright on the comeback route to Roger Brunswick, and that is really no gain on the play. Camp is there along with Ashlyn Washington. Washington, the starting Will linebacker. Knee surgery last spring. He's a returning starter, as is Anthony Robinson. On this defense, Jonathan Ortiz, a returning starter who's out. Appendicitis earlier this year, but may play before this season is all over. So that pass play to Brunswick, no gain on the completion. 2nd and 10. Enright pass is tipped at the line of scrimmage. Not sure who got a piece of it. Sock in that area, as is Anthony Robinson. Quarles, the intended receiver. And if you're St. Mary's, do you throw on every down? Certainly Barry Enright is capable. Last year as a sophomore, he had 19 touchdowns. This year in his 3 games, 4 touchdowns and 2 picks. So his 4th varsity game tonight, Tokay, Bear Creek, Stagg, and now Lincoln. And he started the last 2. Last week against Stagg and tonight against Lincoln. I believe earlier I said it's his 3rd varsity game. This is actually his 4th varsity game. 3rd and 10 after the incompletion. We apologize for the difficulty in seeing, but that's the fog that is blanketing this field here in the Thompson Sports Complex. Out of the shotgun on 3rd and 10. Robinson giving pressure. Enright flushed, and he is thrown down. Looked like Baron Davis. Baron Davis, the man who made the play, the 6'2 junior, as he sacks Barry Enright. Davis called up to varsity last year for the section semifinal playoff run for the Lincoln Trojans, along with Noah St. Urban, Brian Cornett, Chris Matsuoka, Kyle Worley. As they all got experience, this is nothing new playing in games of this nature. High snap again to Collins, nearly blocked, but it's very short and goes out of bounds near the 35. And that's where Lincoln will have it for the 4th time. St. Mary's has gone 3 and out thrice, and they trail 21-0 on 3 touchdowns by Lewis Rankin. A 94-yard kick return to open the game, a 70-yard touchdown run, and an 85-yard touchdown run. 4:52 showing on the clock. Line of scrimmage, the 36, as the Trojans go to work again. So Peter Mao takes it left side. He's met and driven back. Matt Cordova. Also John Driscoll in there. So let's show you the St. Mary's defense. Their tackles are Steve Walton and Seth McGinnity. The ends for St. Mary's are Matt Cordova and John Gibson. The middle linebackers, Alex Cook. Strong side, Anthony Pisano. In there for Mazgay, who's out for the year. Gonzalez on the weak side. The corners are Quarles and Dixon. The safeties are Brunswick and Cohen. On 2nd and 10, Rankin takes it again. Rankin is close to a first down, so quite an accomplishment for St. Mary's to hold them to maybe 9, possibly 10. Lewis Rankin, his third carry. Look at the good blocking there from an outstanding Lincoln offensive line. Some are comparing it to the offensive line that was there for the Trojans in 2000 that took Lincoln to a section championship game. Guys like Brian Bernier, Steve Tabin, Adam Awazawi, Dale Boyd, Kevin Lee, and J.C. Curley. 9 for Rankin, 3rd and 1. Kornick keeps the 5'8", 150 junior. And with the surge, has a first down. So Kornick gets at least a yard. There's the scoreboard, 21-0. And it was 21-0 in a hurry in 4 minutes and 40 seconds. Lincoln looking to go up 28-0. It's not like they haven't been doing this to everybody. I'm sure that's some small consolation for the St. Mary's fans. Not at all. Rankin on the toss, runs right side, turns the corner before he is bumped out of bounds. Spotted about the 16. So another 9-yard gain. And Rankin's killing his average now every time he runs it. That's bound to happen when you go for 70 and for 85 your first 2 runs. Novella, the safety, bumped him out of bounds. 2nd and a yard, maybe close to 2. 3 minutes, 12 seconds to go in the first quarter. Trojans big here early on, looking to go up 4 scores. Edwin Dewhurst in at a tight end. Parker goes in motion. Kornick looking to throw. In the flats, pass is caught, so Peter Mao, and then he is clotheslined by Richard Dixon. Mao takes it inside the 5 to about the 4. He has a couple receiving touchdowns this year. Scored 3 against Edison in total, 3 total against Lodi, 2 of which were receiving touchdowns, 10 overall. A gain of about 12 on the Mao reception, and it is 1st and goal Lincoln inside the 5 at about the 4. It's Mao who walks it in. Touchdown, so Peter Mao, so he's the first person to score other than Lewis Rankin, and it's 27-0 Lincoln. So Peter Mao takes that one in from 4 yards out. His 11th touchdown of the year. So he and Lewis Rankin have combined for 40 touchdowns. Rankin and Mao, 40 touchdowns in total. But there was a flag on the play, apparently holding against Lincoln. Didn't see it in the fog, so call that one back. And the Trojans are marched back to about the 14, where it's 1st and goal. Maybe the 13 after the penalty. Mao takes it again. Not much doing there. Lawrence Chukwu first, John Gibson, and finally John Driscoll. Driscoll hurt his knee versus West. Coach Franks didn't know if he would play, and a fumble. Fumble somewhere there at the end. There's a Trojan player who has the ball at the bottom of the pile, but St. Mary's had it last in the eyes of the officials. Couldn't tell what happened there. Let's see, because Mao was hit about 3 times. Clearly the ball came out because Mao didn't end up with it. And so the touchdown taken off the board. Chukwu right there. You can see the ball still there. John Driscoll, he may have been the man to strip it. The pile in there, and it's so hard to see who ends up with it for St. Mary's, but the way Driscoll was pointing, and Barry Enright gets taken down on the first play for St. Mary's, so they continue to struggle here on offense. And a loss of 10 on the sack. And it was Anthony Robinson who got to Enright. 2nd sack. Robinson, an outstanding defender, had a good week last week against Franklin. Coach Byerly said. Mike Byerly, the head man at Lincoln in his first year, and what a first year it's been. 2 league titles for him at the freshman level in each of the last 2 years. 2nd and 20 for St. Mary's after the sack. Alex Gonzalez runs with it. Parker gets to him, ball comes loose, but late. Washington also in on the tackle. A gain of 3 for Alex Gonzalez. The juniors on each of these teams have met for the championship in the last regular season game in each of the last 2 years. Last year, a win on the last play of the game for Lincoln, and the same the year before. A 1-point win last year and a 2-point win the year before. It was actually Seamus, I should say, the man who started the tackle. Ball came loose. Officials said it was late. Matt Seamus averages about 14 tackles per game in this offense. Defense, I should say. 3rd and 17. Enright looking for Dixon. Dixon makes the grab and will be close to a first down. He may have it. Taken out of bounds by Kevin Brown. Nice reception and then run after the catch by Richard Dixon. Had to get to the 27 for the first down, and he has it and then some. Spotted down at the 29. A good look right there. Enright, a strong arm. Hits Dixon on the run and allowed him to turn it upfield. A 19-yard reception. And so let's see. It's still 21-0, but we're not yet done with the first quarter. And remember, Lincoln had a touchdown taken off the board on the hold, and this is the ensuing drive for St. Mary's. 1st and 10. Rams must feel like they finally have some breathing room. At the 29. Toss. Gonzalez takes on a tackler. Good yardage. Brought down by Kevin DeLonzo, the starting free safety. Looks like he'll be spotted around the 35. But it looks like we have another penalty. Promise you cannot see the flags on this field. And the flag does go against St. Mary's, so it'll take off a nice run by Alex Gonzalez. It's procedure called against the Rams. As I said at the outset of the telecast, Lincoln, if they win, they are the #1 seed, league champion. If they lose, they are the #2 seed. They still have a home first-round game. St. Mary's, if they win this game, they are the #1 seed. There are the possibilities. So look at St. Mary's now. At the win, they are the #1 seed and league champ. If there's a 3-way tie, meaning West defeats Tracy and Tokay defeats Lodi, then in the 3-way tie, St. Mary's becomes the #4 seed because it goes to overall record, and St. Mary's lost their opener to Jesuit while both West and Tokay were victorious. May be unfair, but that's the way it is. Enright throws to Brunswick up to the 35. A gain of about 11. Roger Brunswick. The reception. Nice combination between Brunswick and Richard Dixon at the receiver position. And it's going to make it now 2nd down and shall we say 4. And that will be the end of the first quarter. A battle for the #1 seed in the postseason. Right now it is all Lincoln. They lead 21-0 after 1 on 3 Lewis Rankin touchdowns. The opening kickoff of the game, he went 94 yards. With 10:13 to play in the first quarter, 70 yards on the ground. And then with 7:20 to play in the first quarter, Rankin went 85 yards. Quite ridiculous. Other games in the SJAA tonight and tomorrow. As we said, the intra-city games, of course, in Lodi with Lodi and Tokay. Tokay actually considered the road team, and then Tracy the road team against West in the Battle of Tracy on Saturday. Franklin at Edison, tonight at UOP, Bear Creek and Stagg. And in the VOL, the intra-city game, Manteca and East Union, and Sonora and Oakdale for the VOL championship. Manteca is the #3 seed for sure because Sonora won the coin flip. And then right now it'll be either Oakdale or Sonora as the 1 seed. The loser is the 2 seed. They're expecting 8,000 people at the Corral in Oakdale tonight. I'm guessing that's the entire population of the city of Oakdale and probably the city of Sonora. But they do play very good football at the Division III level. 2nd down and about 4 as we're set to start the second quarter. There's another touchdown run for Lewis Rankin. It's the fullback and a fumble. Alex Cook ran it, and Lincoln says they have it, and so do the officials. Apparently Kevin DeLonzo, the man who recovered it. Alex Cook had the first down, but he fumbles. And let's go ahead and thank our friends over at Rick's New York Style Pizza for providing pizza to the crew tonight. They are located 4118 North Eldorado Street in Stockton. Phone number is 463-6339, 463-6339. So each team has fumbled once, and the fumbles have come towards the end of runs. Lincoln has it at the 44 of St. Mary's with 11:53 to go in the half. So Peter Mao takes it. Mao with a burst across the 30. Now it's a foot race inside the 20, and he steps out of bounds. So Peter Mao at the 14-yard line on a 30-yard run. The Trojan fans have a lot to be happy for. It seemed like maybe St. Mary's could have gotten a little bit momentum back if they could have scored on their last drive after the Lincoln touchdown was taken off the board. There's Rankin. Of course, everybody thinks he's going to get the ball, but it was so Peter Mao. That time Lewis Rankin becomes the blocker, and then Mao goes right by everybody and almost turned the corner in time to score. 1st and 10 Trojans at the 14, leading 21-0, opening second quarter. Rankin inside the 10. Anthony Pisano makes the play for St. Mary's. About 5 for Lewis Rankin. Five carries, 178 yards for Lewis Rankin. 2 touchdowns on the ground. He scored 5 on 2 occasions this year, including last week against Franklin. Highest rushing total, 221 against Granite Bay. May shatter that tonight. 2nd and 5 from the 9 for Lincoln. Kornick rolls to the right, drops it off to Rankin, and Rankin has his 4th touchdown of the half. Lewis Rankin, 1 kick return for a touchdown, 2 rushing touchdowns, and now a 9-yard receiving touchdown. This game has become his college highlight tape. So Rankin scores 10:58 to go. Noah St. Urban on for his 4th extra point. St. Urban 4 for 4. Lewis Rankin 4 touchdowns. And I don't know if he's been touched by more than a hand or 2 on any of them. Brian Kornick out in the flats to Rankin. You would think somebody would be closer to him. A little move right there, and he was not touched on that play either. He is a very, very special player. Rankin's 4th receiving touchdown of the year. His 8th total reception. So he has 178 yards rushing, 9 yards receiving and a touchdown, and a 94-yard kick return. 4 touchdowns in total. Starting to remind me a lot of Frank Strong when he played at Franklin back in '97. We all know he ended up at USC, and of course, now the San Francisco 49ers. Might be getting a little carried away, but there's not many people that can do the things Lewis Rankin's doing tonight. 28-0. Oh, by the way, you can give him the SJAA Player of the Year and Area Player of the Year award right now. Camp boots it. From the 14, it is Thomas Quarles for St. Mary's. Quarles at the 40. Now Quarles at midfield. Across the 40 before the kickoff man, Reynard Camp, brings him out of bounds around the 35. About a 50-yard kick return by Thomas Quarles. Quarles, a junior, played last year at Sierra High School. Earlier this year had a 95-yard kick return called back against West. We may see him play some tailback this year. And the ball now spotted at the 38. Nice return by Quarles. Now last year, Lincoln was victorious 54-24, but they trailed in that game 24-7. St. Mary's is hoping for a reverse of that trend tonight. It's Gonzalez, the first man. Play made by Ashlyn Washington. Looks like Gonzalez will get about 3. There's Jeff Johnson. Johnson, 1,038 yards, 4th in the area, 12 touchdowns, but he sprained his ankle very badly on the first play of the second half last week against Stagg, and of course St. Mary's misses him greatly. He should be back in action, we're told, next week, possibly in the first round of the playoffs. Looks like Gonzalez will be awarded about 5 yards now. Makes it 2nd down and 5 at about the 33. Gonzalez bumped into his tight end Pisano, and that kind of broke down the play. Henry Sock again there for the Trojans. Their defensive coordinator, Jim Rubiales, former head coach at Lincoln from 86 through 94. Won titles in 88, 89, 90, and 91. And Lincoln is kind of back to that prominence and dominance. No gain in the play, 3rd and 5. Awaiting the Rams, 9.5 minutes to go in the first half, 28-0 Lincoln Trojans. Gonzalez again, tough to ask him to pick up 5 on 3rd and long. He's stopped by Matt Seamus, who is racking up the tackles. Gonzalez loses 2. It's 4th down for St. Mary's, and do they go for it here? 4th and 7 at the 36 of Lincoln. Not much to lose, trailing 28-0. Lincoln, since their loss to St. Mary's, the last game of '99, they went 6-0-1 in league in 2000, 7-0 last year, and now 7-0 this year. Could be 8 if you throw in the Edison game that does not count in the standings. Play action by Enright. Throws over the middle. Nice catch by Pisano. I don't know if he has enough for the first down. Let's see where he's spotted. A rocket thrown in there by Enright. Nice grab by Pisano. And you saw Craig Plant with the signal, first down, St. Mary's on the 8-yard reception. There's Enright, who last year was an outstanding sophomore pitcher on the varsity for St. Mary's. Also a good hitter. In fact, he was among the best players in the SJAA last year. Chronicled the story earlier. Didn't start the year with the football team. Joined the team in week 2. Did not play until 4 weeks ago against Tokay. Now he has started the last 2 games. On first down, Gonzalez the ball carrier. Nothing doing there. Matsuoka, the nose guard, Chris Matsuoka. Looks like no gain for Pisano, the tight end. That was his 6th reception of the year. 2nd and 10, might even be 2nd and 10.5, to be honest with you, as St. Mary's comes to the line at the 27-yard line. Less than 8 to play in the half, 28-0 Lincoln. Alex Gonzalez, ball is loose. Lincoln has it at the bottom of the pile. It is Anthony Robinson, the 2nd fumble by St. Mary's. You can never have that, but especially when you're trailing 28-0. Got popped out of there. And Anthony Robinson picks it up. Ball must be awfully slippery with the dew from the fog. Our 3rd fumble of the night. Clock stopped at 7:46. Ball bounces there, and you see Robinson cover it up. Couldn't tell who made the hit to knock it loose. So Lincoln now has it at the 23, leading 28-0. Lewis Rankin on 1st and 10. Gets close to the 30. John Driscoll, Alex Cook are there for St. Mary's. Rankin gets close to 6. So now 6 carries, 184 yards. So he's at 1,550 yards. The St. Mary's offensive line being talked to on the sideline. Lincoln runs it again with Mao, Seth McGinnity, the tackler. And Lincoln, not a team that throws it a lot. Coming in, Brian Kornick, their junior quarterback, 32 of 67. And with their lead, there's really no reason to throw. Now, maybe later in the postseason, they may be forced to. Nice extra effort there by Mao to pick up the first down. As he got about 6. 1st and 10 Trojans at the 35, leading 28-0. Rankin again. Rankin, guess what? We have 5 touchdowns. Lewis Rankin, his 5th touchdown This is insane right now. 65 yards that time, and we still have 6.5 minutes to play in the first half. Lewis Rankin just took it 65 yards, his 5th touchdown of the first half, with 6:37 to go in the first half. I have never in my life seen anything like this before. Rankin returned the opening kickoff 94 yards. Lincoln's first offensive play, he ran 70 yards. Then on Lincoln's second series, he went 85 yards. Then a 9-yard reception in the second quarter, and here a 65-yard run for a touchdown. And Lincoln is an extra point away from being up 35-0. Lewis Rankin, for the 3rd time this year, has scored 5 touchdowns. Noah St. Urban is now 5 of 5, but his night has not been as good as Lewis Rankin's. In fact, nobody's has been. Lewis Rankin is putting on an unbelievable show tonight once he gets to the outside. And you know what, again, I don't think he was touched. Lewis Rankin brought the Jets tonight. Check him for nitrous. He's going so quick. Might as well ISO him. He's going to get it and he's going to score. And it's hard to tell, but I don't think he was touched. In fact, I think you can almost say that with some certainty. He was not touched. Rankin, 65 yards. So in total tonight, Lewis Rankin has touched the ball 9 times, 7 runs, a kick return, and a reception. Of those 9 touches, he has scored 5 touchdowns. I don't know what else you can say. There really isn't anything you can. He has 7 carries for 249 yards, 3 touchdowns that way, 1 catch for 9 yards, and 1 kick return. 249 yards in a quarter and a half. 15.5 minutes of play. I know. It's getting out of control. Reynard Camp to kick it away for the 5th time. A bouncing kick. Dixon has it at the 22 for St. Mary's. And then Dixon bumped out of bounds. Kyle Worley there. Remember in this game last year in which Lincoln won 54-24, Justin Belcher scored 5 touchdowns. So now Rankin has 5 for the 3rd time this year. He has 31 for the season. And with his 249 yards rushing, he's over 1,600 yards for the season. 1,620, give or take a yard or 2. At the 35, St. Mary's has it, trailing 35-0. And this is a playoff team. St. Mary's is a good team, and Lewis Rankin is running all over him. Barry Enright, he is sacked for the 3rd time tonight. Ball comes loose late. What do the officials say? Lincoln has it. Matt Suoka there and Sock, I think they were the men who met at Enright. Not sure which one of them came up with it, but Enright out of the shotgun. Stepping up because the pocket was collapsing. Matt Suoka gets him and Sock. Ball comes loose. Matt Suoka there at the bottom. Not sure if it was him or Sock. Really hard to tell. But it was one of those two. And they split the sack as well. Sock and Matt Suoka, they, along with Seamus, very good defensively. St. Mary's has now fumbled 3 times. Can Rankin get his 6th? Brian Parker takes it for the first time tonight. Parker close to 7. There is a Ram player down on the field. A Trojan also slow to get up. Can't tell who it is for either team. Looks like an offensive lineman for Lincoln here in the SJTV Sports High School Football Game of the Week, which has been the Lewis Rankin Show here tonight in the fog. We hope each player is okay. The Ram is up now. It's Steve Walton, the nose/defensive tackle. And the Trojan is Dustin Carter, number 55. There's Carter, and then Walton giving chase. They kind of tripped each other up. Actually, Carter went down at the block, and then Walton went over the top. Brian Parker gets 7. Our Game of the Week schedule this season, early on, it was shutout, 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 3 of the first 4 weeks. Then we had the stretch on homecoming games that were outstanding. Edison St. Mary's, the 17-14 game here, with, of course, the lights turning out and Chris Henry returning a fumble before the half of 50 yards. The 2-point game, Tokay and Franklin, and the 5-pointer in the intra-city game, Sierra and East Union. Then the statement made by Lincoln in the battle of unbeatens in league play. Of course, Edison had just become ineligible at that point. They were unbeaten overall. Last week, Tokay got themselves into the playoffs and put themselves in good shape for the number 2 seed. And right now, Lincoln and St. Mary's, and we'll be at the winner of this game next week, if you will. Right now, it sure looks like Lincoln, as Justin Carter is getting up. That's great to see. And, of course, whoever the number 1 seed is, as long as they continue to win, we'll follow them. And Lincoln hopes to make a run like they have the last 2 years. Pretty amazing what the Trojans have been able to do. First under Mike Johnson, and now Mike Byerly, 31-4-1 in the last 3 years for the Trojans. 34-4-1. Of course, 12-1-1 in the section championship year. That was 2000. Last year, 11-2, and this year, 8-1. There have been some very good SJAA runs. Of course, the late 70s by Stagg, the middle 80s by Tracy. But I think this run probably approaches any that we've seen before. Second down and about 4, so give Parker 6 on the last run. 2nd and 4 Trojans from the 26, leading 35-0. Kornick keeps it. Close to a first down. Ball comes loose. Looks like Lincoln recovers, though. Nick O'Brien, the backup quarterback and the tight end, does recover. Brian Kornick gets 6, possibly 7 on the carry. Got to like the heart of the Lincoln quarterback at 5'8", 150. He is a junior, starting quarterback for the sophomores last year. Ryan Struppel, of course, a 2-year starter. Outstanding baseball player. Some thought maybe he wouldn't play football, I should say, his senior season. So there's talk that Kornick would have been the varsity quarterback as a sophomore. Last week, 2 passing touchdowns and 1 rushing against Franklin. 1st and 10, and we have 3 flags, make it 4, a multitude. And it is procedure against the Trojans. They have 3 penalties, but they do lead 35-0 with 5:19 to go. Lewis Rankin has gotten it done tonight. 5 touchdowns, 3 rushing, and 1 receiving on a kick return. Looked like Kyle Worley, who's in there at a guard, replacing Justin Carter. St. Mary's fans have had not much to cheer about tonight. In fact, they really haven't had anything to cheer about, while the Lincoln fans have had a fiesta all night long. 1st and 15 after the penalty at the 25. Rankin, and would you believe he gets nothing on the play? His 10th carry is the first one that doesn't pick up good yardage. Brent Collins, Seth McGinnity, the tacklers. Rankin, no gain on the play. 2nd and 15, less than 5 minutes to play in the first half. The fog kind of skewing the clock a little bit, missing some of the bulbs. No, St. Mary's has paid their electricity bill. All the bulbs are lit up. It's just hard to see them with the fog. 2nd and 15 at the 25 for the Trojans of St. Mary's. Rankin, 2, maybe 3. Collins, Novella, among others, also look like Thomas Quarles. Lewis Rankin gets 2, and shall we say 3rd and 13. 3rd and 13, awaiting the Trojans, leading 35-0 here, less than 4 to play in the first half. From the 23 of St. Mary's. Toss to Rankin. Going to change directions now, and he's going to lose a couple, may even lose as many as 4. Good pursuit by the St. Mary's defense. Alex Gonzalez finally gets to Rankin. Normally you wouldn't want anybody to change direction, but if anybody could do that, it'd probably be Lewis Rankin. He loses 3, makes it 3rd and 16. Rankin didn't like what he saw. Almost thought he was going to throw there for a second. Did change the hand, which the ball was tucked under. And he ends up losing 3, so 3 straight runs have gone for -1 yard in total. It might be far too little too late, as Rankin's already scored 5 touchdowns here in the first half. Lincoln will go for it on 4th down, that in-between territory. Brian Kornick looking to throw, has a man all alone. It's Nick O'Brien who falls in for the touchdown. Nick O'Brien, the backup quarterback, has the touchdown on the toss from Brian Kornick, 26 yards out, and it's now 41-0 Lincoln. Kornick has thrown his 2nd of the night and the 9th of the season. That was 4th and 16. O'Brien was all alone, a floating pass. He just waited for it to come down. And now O'Brien will hold, and Noah St. Urban on for his 6th extra point. He's already made 45 coming in. This will be his 51st if he is successful. That kick is also good. Noah St. Urban has been perfect tonight, as have the Trojans. About as impressive as a show as you will ever see. The play action to Rankin, and who wouldn't bite on that? Kornick up top. Nick O'Brien all alone made the catch and stumbled in. 6 points for him. There's a good look coming right at you. Kornick gets it done to O'Brien. Just got to make sure you hold on to it. He did. And gets in 42-0, 2:51 to go in the half. The first man other than Lewis Rankin to score a touchdown. And remember, Lincoln has one touchdown that's already been called back tonight. It could be 49-0. And it's not to demean St. Mary's in any way. It just shows you truly how good Lincoln is. And this is now the 6th consecutive game they've scored 40 or more points, and we're not even at the half. And you never know what could happen in the postseason. Lincoln could lose in the first round. Not likely, though. And the way they're going, the CCC should beware. Merced, the number 1 seed. Remember, 2 years ago, Lincoln defeated Merced in the first round on their way to the championship. But Lincoln will either play Turlock, Davis, or Atwater next week at home. And if both West and Tokay won, then St. Mary's will be on the road. And I don't know what happened there. A flag is thrown. Ross Randrup now the man to kick off, and he didn't kick the ball. I'm guessing that has to be offsides. Procedure's called. Procedure goes against St. Mary's. I suppose it could have been offsides too. Everybody was down the field before the ball was kicked, because it wasn't. Lincoln leading 42-0. It would take an act of Congress, a miracle, if you will, you would think, for St. Mary's to win this game, to even get back in it the way it is. I'm guessing we'll see a lot of reserves from Lincoln in the second half. From the 24, it's Richard Dixon. Dixon gets across the 40 on his return and up to the 44. He's stopped there by Daniel Peterson. St. Mary's has it with 2:43 to go. They have their timeouts. And I'm sure would desperately love to get in the end zone, at least give them some kind of momentum to start the second half. There's a dejected defense, Steve Walton among others, and have to go back a little bit to the decision by St. Mary's to defer and kick to Lincoln first, and Lewis Rankin made him play on the opening kickoff, 94 yards. Dixon grabs it off the shoe tops across midfield, close to a first down as he's pulled out of bounds by Brian Parker. It'll be close. Dixon came in the leading receiver for St. Mary's, 19 catches for 369 yards and 3 touchdowns. About a yard short, give him 9 on that reception. St. Mary's has fumbled 3 times, but that really hasn't made a huge difference. Lincoln already well in control before the fumbles starting to occur. Of course, they didn't help. 2nd and 1 after the 9-yard gain. Flags fly, whistles sound in the background. And you have to start thinking psychologically what this could do for St. Mary's. Encroachment on Lincoln. St. Mary's had a fine season. They're 6-3. Came in playing for the league championship. Doesn't look like that will happen now. But how will they respond next week? Most likely will have to go on the road unless they get some help from Lodi or Tracy. Hopefully for their sake, they will get Jeff Johnson back. But you have to wonder what this will do to a team, not only in the second half, but more importantly, for next week's game in the first round of the postseason. The first time St. Mary has been in the playoffs since 1999. Barry Enright on first down. Back out to Dixon. Dixon inside the 30. Nice move there before he is brought down by Sean Doherty. About a 14-yard pickup. And so we see the strong arm of Barry Enright and Dixon making a couple of plays. And if you're a St. Mary's fan, you just wish they had a chance to do that with a much more manageable score than the 42-0 right now for Lincoln. And if you're a Lincoln fan, you wish that touchdown Mouse scored wasn't called back and it was 49-0. First and 10, St. Mary's from the 28 of Lincoln, down 42-0. Barry Enright is sacked again. Seamus and Henry Sock in there. So at least another half a sack for Sock. His brothers played at Lincoln in the 80s. Matt Seamus also in on that. He's made all kinds of tackles tonight. At least 4 sacks on the night. Have to check the notes at halftime to see if there's 5, but by my count right now, 4 sacks of Barry Enright by the Lincoln defense. Now approaching a minute and a half after the sack, 2nd and 13. Enright almost down again, and now he is dropped. Enright is sacked for at least the 5th time of the night. Baron Davis gets to him again. He has a couple. Seamus almost got to Enright at the snap, and then Baron Davis came through to get him. Davis, a junior. Lincoln, 22 seniors and 23 juniors, a couple of sophomores as well, and Camp and Michael Johnson. 3rd and long with less than a minute to play in the half for St. Mary's. Enright going up top, looking for Dixon. Johnson with good coverage, pass a little overthrown as well. There's Richard Dixon, the intended receiver. Pretty good coverage from Michael Johnson. And it's 4th and 18 for St. Mary's. Might as well go for it with 51 seconds left in the half. Dixon appears to be a bit shaken up, or shaken by the score. And we're here, of course, sitting on the home side in the press box, and it is virtually silent. You can hear the small conversations. And really the Lincoln sideline seems to be quiet too. Of course, their training was done much earlier. 4th and 18. Middle screen to Roger Brunswick. Brunswick inside the 20 and has a first down as it gets down to the 14. A 22-yard hookup. Nice call there from St. Mary's. First down, stops the clock with 43.5 to go. St. Mary's still has their timeouts if they elect to use them. Brunswick showing his athleticism. Taking it over the middle and the clock rolling again. St. Mary's better hurry up. Brunswick gets 22 on 4th and 18. 1st and 10 at the 14. 30 seconds to go in the half. St. Mary's trying to get their first score. Enright looking to the end zone for Dixon. He comes back for it and takes it away from the defender, Brian Parker. Touchdown, Richard Dixon of 14 yards. So it's 42-6. Nice grab, though, for Dixon nonetheless, and he had 3 receptions on this drive. So at least if you're St. Mary's, you have something to build on at the half, and you will get the ball first to start the second half. But then reality sets in when you do the math and realize you're still down by 36. Dixon, a heck of a grab, though, as he took it away from Parker, who actually had played it pretty well. Ryan Rogers on for the extra point. Rogers, 19 point afters this year, a couple of field goals as well. Chris Mendoza, high snap. He has it. Ball is loose. Lincoln trying to pick it up, still going down. And so it is a 36-point game at 42-6 with 24 and 6/10 seconds to go in the half. I don't believe that officially goes down as a fumble for St. Mary's, so they still have 3. The touchdown from Enright, kind of what we expected coming in, that he'd be able to throw the ball possibly, but now he has to throw it out of desperation, and Dixon just took it away from Parker. Pretty good grab. Making the score, though, 42-6 now, Lincoln. Dixon likes it as he should, the senior who started last year, but St. Mary still has a lot of work to do. Now, of course, stranger things have happened, but I don't know many stranger things that have happened than coming back from 42-0. Certainly not on the NFL level. Collegiately, I'm not even sure if you've had that kind of a deficit overcome. Maybe in high school somewhere in America. Maybe in West Virginia. Things tend to happen in an odd way there sometimes. Who knows? But in the NFL or at least the Division I level, I'm pretty certain nobody has ever come a deficit of 42 points. Right around 30 is the margin. 42 is asking a lot of somebody, but it was 42 with 6 minutes to play in the second quarter. 5 touchdowns here in the first half for Lewis Rankin on what is maybe the finest display offensively, individually, I've ever seen. Rogers kicks it off. Lincoln just has to make sure they cover it. They do with Brian Parker. Parker brought down by Teddy Cohen. Looked like maybe John Novella in there as well. And you would think the Trojans will take a knee here with 15.5 seconds left. And the ball at the 32. The Ram doesn't look too happy right now. St. Mary's just got on the scoreboard. Yeah, cover your eyes is right. But St. Mary's will have to try and put something together positive in the second half to carry them into next week in the playoffs because they are in. Just looks like they may be the 4th seed. Knee is taken by Nick O'Brien, and we may not see Lewis Rankin or many other of the first teamers for Lincoln in the second half. The Trojans go to the locker room up 42-6, 5 touchdowns from Lewis Rankin. He returned the opening kick, 94 yards for a score. Had a 70-yard run, an 85-yard touchdown run. Then he had a 9-yard reception and a 65-yard touchdown run. The other touchdown for Lincoln, a 26-yard reception on 4th down by Nick O'Brien. The St. Mary's touchdown came here in the final minute by Richard Dixon. 42-6, Trojans asserting themselves on their way to a 9-1 regular season and an 8-0 SJAA season. Back with the second half right after this. (42-6), our halftime scores are about set to start the second half from the Thompson Sports Complex. Lewis Rankin for Lincoln in the first half. 5 touchdowns. He scored 5 times on the first 9 times he touched the ball. He opened the game with a 94-yard kick return for a touchdown, and he never looked back. Rankin in the first half, 10 carries, 248 yards, and 3 touchdowns. For the season, Lewis Rankin now has 31 total touchdowns, 619 yards rushing. He also caught a pass of 9 yards for a touchdown, and as I mentioned, had the opening kick return of 94 yards. That's 351 yards of total offense, and I'm guessing we're not going to see him in the second half. Was barely even touched in the first half. Probably a little bit of his speed, maybe a little bit of the St. Mary's defense, a defense that has been very good this year. But we're unable to get a hand on Lewis Rankin in the first half. Rankin scoring through the fog, and I'm guessing we'll see a lot of second-teamers from Lincoln here in the second half. Barry Enright in the first half, the quarterback for St. Mary's, was 3 of 11 for 104 yards. But right now, his team down by 36. Ross Randrup kicks off to St. Mary's. Richard Dixon has it at about the 22. And Dixon is brought down from behind. Vincent Honte, the man who gets to him, St. Mary's did not aid their cause with 3 fumbles in the first half, and Enright was sacked 5 times, twice by Baron Davis, once by Robinson. Henry Sock with the sack, and also half a sack for Matt Seamus and Chris Matsuoka. At the 33, St. Mary's did score their touchdown in the final minute, a reception by Richard Dixon, and they'll try and build on that here with 11:54 to play in the third. Rams will be in the playoffs, but right now it looks like they may be the 4th seed unless West or Tokay are lost. Alex Gonzalez, he runs on first down and gets 2. Second down and 8. Matsuoka there, so the first team defense still there for Lincoln, and they may play a series or 2, and unless St. Mary's scores twice, that may be it. There is Lewis Rankin. Rankin at 6'2", and there's Mighty Vongsonet. Vongsonet will probably carry the ball here quite a bit in the second half. He's 5'1", 135. They call him Mighty, as in Mighty Mouse. 2nd and 8 from the 35. Gonzalez, the only man to carry the ball in the first half. Now 12 carries for 19. Enright, option toss, back to him. I should make the correction. Alex Cook carried once, but he'd rather forget it as he fumbled. Delonzo up from a safety and Seamus. So Gonzalez back-to-back carries. A couple more yards for him, so it'll be 3rd and 6 upcoming. Remember, St. Mary's without Jeff Johnson. But it probably wouldn't have mattered tonight. 3rd and 6 from the 37, opening possession, second half. Enright is down again. Matt Seamus didn't even realize he sacked him. He hit Enright, thought maybe he had released it, but Seamus now with the sack and a half and about 10 tackles unofficially. St. Mary's now to punt for the 4th time on the night. Seamus brought him down. And watch Seamus look out in the flats. He thought Enright had released the ball. Brent Collins is the punter. That play lost about 6. So Peter Mount back to return it. And he will do so at the 35 for Lincoln. Gets across the 45 to maybe the 47. Teddy Cohen and John Gibson, the tacklers for St. Mary's. Trojans have it at the 47. Good field position with 9:55 to go here in the third quarter. Lincoln in the first half, 8 possessions if you include the kick return by Rankin. 6 touchdowns, a fumble, and then, of course, they got the ball with 15 seconds before the end of the half. Nick O'Brien now in at quarterback. Rankin is out as well, and he should be, to tell you the truth. Doherty goes in motion. Vongsonet carries it, and Mighty Vongsonet gets to the 45, about an 8-yard gain before he is brought down. Gonzalez and also Steve Walton. Vongsonet gets 8. His first name is actually Kamla. It's spelled K-H-A-M-L-A, but the team calls him Mighty. Had a touchdown earlier this year against Stag. Mao gave him a nice block. 8 yards for Vongsonet. Also, we'll probably see Alex Trujillo in the backfield, I'm guessing. O'Brien has played in a couple of second halves this season. Vongsonet on second. He fights forward and may have enough for a first down. So you see backup skill players with still looks like the first team offensive line in there for Lincoln. Vongsonet's close. Not sure if he has it. And Lincoln, I'd be surprised if they throw a pass, maybe throw 1 or 2 in a third long situation here in the second half. They just want this game to get over with and move forward to next week and their first playoff game and hope they have no injuries and maybe give some of their second teamers some time. 3rd and 1, Vongsonet just shy, 3rd and about a half a yard, to be honest with you, from inside the 45 of St. Mary's for Lincoln. So Peter Mao, first down. Mao gets to the 35, picks up about 5. Gonzalez and Matt Cordova. So it appears now, if this score holds true or something along these lines, St. Mary's will lose for the 3rd time on TV. When I talked with Coach Tony Franks this week, he left a message for him. He called back and jokingly said, I'm not going to let you do the game this week, of course, because they had lost twice previously. And now I'm guessing he wishes he had in his team. Certainly not their best performance of the year, and they will join 98 and the 2000 Bear Creek Bruins as the only teams to lose 3 games on TV. And this will be the 4th loss in a row on TV for St. Mary's. They lost their last game on TV last year against Tokay. Vongsonet stopped by McGinnity. And then driven back, Teddy Cohen in there. Cohen, a strong safety, played some linebacker last week when John Driscoll was out. Looks like Nogan in the play for Voncenet. All-time St. Mary's on TV is 7-4. Lincoln far and away the most appearances on TV, as the Trojans are 13-7. In fact, 9-2 in their last 11 TV appearances. Of course, a lot of that because they've been in the postseason and deep in the postseason the last 2 years. 2nd-10, maybe even 2nd-11. Sean Doherty runs with it this time for Lincoln, turns it up the field. Doherty cuts inside. Lawrence Chokecki knocks him out of bounds. Big time run for Sean Doherty inside the 10. And he'll be spotted around the 7, it looks like. A 33-yard run, but apparently there's a flag down on the field. So there are the SJTV appearances since '97, and for the record, we always like to say it, everybody in the SJAA since 1997 has made at least one appearance. We try to guarantee that. Of course, then we go with the teams that are hot and the teams that are better, to be honest with you, later in the year. Now, the last couple years, we've gotten everybody on from the SJAA and the VOL as well. We've been able to do that in the last 3 years. But since '97, everybody in the SJAA has been on TV at least once. Lincoln, you see what they've done in the playoffs on TV. Manteca last year 4-0 in their section run. Stagg 3-0 in their run to the playoffs in '99. We'll look at that later in the game as well. Here on 2nd down, it's Doherty again, so he got his yardage taken away from him. But does pick up the 1st down as it was 2nd and a yard. Spotted the foul infraction. Lincoln working towards another touchdown with their 2nd-teamers in. A lot of the 1st-team offensive line still in. At the 25, 1st and 10. Still see Baron Davis in there. He has a couple of sacks. Matt Seamus, he's got a sack and a half. Lincoln next week will be at home against either Turlock, Atwater, or Davis. Merced is the number 1 seed in the CCC. O'Brien on the quarterback keeper, cuts it across the field. Nick O'Brien bidding for his 2nd touchdown. Rodri Haynes pile drives him at about the 3. But a 22-yard run for Nick O'Brien. He already has a touchdown reception in this contest. Nice run by O'Brien. Good vision to cut it across the field. And take it inside the 5. 26-yard touchdown reception for him on 4th and 16 as a tight end. That couldn't have felt good, though. Brian Kornick was 3 of 3 through the air for Lincoln in the first half. 2 touchdowns. One going to Lewis Rankin, one going to O'Brien. 1st and goal Trojans at the 3. Backs are split behind O'Brien. Let's see if Voncenet gets it. He does take it. Mighty Voncenet fighting and scoring. Mighty Voncenet at 5'1", 135 pounds. The junior scores for the 2nd time this year. That's a 3-yard touchdown with 6:18 to go in the 3rd quarter. Voncenet scored once, O'Brien once, and Lewis Rankin 5 times as it's 48-6 Lincoln. Noah St. Urban on for another point after. He is yet to miss tonight. Can he survive the jinx? It wasn't pretty, but he does survive the jinx. 49-6 Lincoln, 6:18 to go in the 3rd. Noah St. Urban has outscored St. Mary's on point afters. Here is Kamala Mighty Voncenet taking on the tackler, spinning around, and scoring for the Trojans. Another angle for you as Lincoln preps for the playoffs. Let's see what St. Mary's can do on offense, and they'd like to score a touchdown or 2 more before this game's over. Barry Enright has thrown the ball well, and you don't know for sure how effective Jeff Johnson will be next week. He's out this week. He's rushed for over 1,000 yards, and St. Mary's is going to need him next week, but they may have to continue to develop the passing game for next week in the postseason. Mention those games on SJTV, as we always try to do, and people ask us, when we pick them, how we pick them, well, basically it's me. I pick them before the season. Sometimes it goes well, sometimes it doesn't. But the way it's gone this year, we're pretty happy with the way it turned out. Early on, we had some games that weren't so good, but we did have the good matchups late in the year with Edison and Lincoln, Tokay and West, Lincoln and St. Mary's. Those are the records for the teams from the SJAA and the VOL, minus, of course, the teams joining this year in West and Tracy, but pretty much a fair share for everybody with the exception of Lincoln, and that's because they've won a lot the last 2 years and earned the right. From the 14, Thomas Quarles for St. Mary's already has one long return, and he gets across the 40 to the 43. A flag way in the backfield. Ross Guntert and Teddy Cohen kind of getting into it. A return of 28 by Quarles. And the penalty does go against Lincoln, their 6th. Now, last week, Alex Cook was ejected from the game with Stagg for St. Mary's, which means you cannot play in the next game. The reason why Cook is playing, there is an appeal made by St. Mary's. Randy Schneider, the commissioner of the SJAA, watched the videotape. The officials in that game thought there was a punch thrown by Cook. The videotape showed that it was actually a shove. So he did not have to sit out this game playing for St. Mary's, and we thought that'd be a big factor. Cook, the best defender for St. Mary's, and was going to play some running back tonight. He's played for a couple of downs, but really not much has been a factor except for Lewis Rankin. St. Mary's has their best field position of the night at the 42 of Lincoln, 1st and 10, trailing 49-6. Chris Mendoza in at quarterback, hands it Thomas Quarles, who is driven back. Matt Suoka, and also Stephen Eberly. A great story for him. He has a blood disease, and it's in remission now, which is great to see. Missed 3 weeks early on, and Coach Mike Barley said he's now just kind of getting into football shape. And each team has had their share of injuries. We mentioned Luke Masgay out for the year for St. Mary's. Michael Ellis, a neck injury. There's Jeff Johnson out for this game with the ankle sprain. Also Michael Wright, the team's second leading rusher, no longer with them. Lincoln's had some injuries as well. The appendicitis of Jonathan Ortiz. Andre Mayfield injured before the year started and was going to be one of the team's best defenders. Quarles loses yardage again. Washington there for St. Mary's. Washington's a guy that came back from knee surgery last spring. And even so, Peter Mao missed a couple of games with a broken finger. So 3rd and 13 after Quarles back-to-back carries lose yardage. 3rd and 13 from the 44 for St. Mary's with Chris Mendoza in at quarterback. Mendoza, 18 of 45 this year, 4 touchdowns, 4 picks, 349 yards. Quarles his 3rd run, and that defense stands tall again for Lincoln. The most points yielded this year in an SJAA game by Lincoln, 19 last week against Franklin. 14, the second highest against Edison, and you have to wonder what happened in that opener against Granite Bay, a game which Lincoln lost 42-41. So Quarles 3 straight runs. In total, they lose 3. And so it's 4th down, St. Mary's to punt again for the 5th time tonight. Brent Collins. St. Mary's needs another player on the field. Steve Walton comes in. And we may never be invited back to the Thompson Sports Complex again. Brent Collins, pretty good kick. Fair catch signaled for by DeLonzo, and it takes a Lincoln bounce, as most things have done tonight. Down to the 26. That's where Lincoln will have it. But certainly things not as bad as they seem for St. Mary's. Of course, in this game they are. But next week, St. Mary's still in the playoffs. Will most likely have to go on the road, and virtual all certainty they will have to go on the road. But teams can make a run. Back in 1999, St. Mary's actually won a playoff game on the road, then had their season ended by Davis. St. Mary's had their season ended in back-to-back years by Grace Davis and Modesto in 98 and 99. But not only this year, as well as next year for St. Mary's. A lot of juniors at the skill positions in Jeff Johnson, Roger Brunswick, the quarterback Barry Enright, and the St. Mary's sophomores undefeated, and they handled the Lincoln sophomores tonight, winning the league championship. Here is Mighty Vonks in it. He is at midfield. Vonks in it in a foot race. Novella giving chase, and he is shoved down, is Vonksonit, but a huge gain for him as he gets inside the 20, and Vonksonit is spotted all the way down at the 13-yard line. A 62-yard run. It's almost hard to find him there. And Vonksonit showed some good speed to get to the outside. He gets all the way down to the 12, maybe the 13. And the sideline and the bleachers over at Lincoln are chanting, "Mighty, mighty." "62 yards for Vonksonit. He already has a touchdown. And it's hard to blame Lincoln. They're just running the ball. Coach Werner of Franklin last week thought they were trying to run it up. But to be honest with you, they're so good, it seems like they're running it up. 3.5 to play in the third quarter. Lincoln leading 49-6. 42-6 was the halftime score. And now Vonksonit, I should correct myself, is spotted inside the 10 at about the 7. So it'll be first and goal. And give him an extra 5 yards, 67 about on that run. And he just was pushed down from behind. First and goal, Trojans up 49-6 here in the third quarter. And there's another touchdown. Mao takes it in, actually walks it in from 7 yards out. His first touchdown of the night. Remember, he had one called back in the first half. So Mao scores for the 11th time this season. And it's now 55-6. A 2-play drive there for Lincoln. The 67-yard run by Vonksonit and the 7-yard run by Mao. And many of the fans on the St. Mary's side starting to file out. Unfortunately, not much for the band to cheer about. Here's the extra point. St. Urban finally breaks his streak. He had made 7 in a row, now 7 of 8. But Noah St. Urban on the year has 52 point afters. That shows you how many times Lincoln has been scoring this year. 55-6, though, the score. Remember last year, our last regular season game in the intra-city battle, the rivalry game, Manteca and East Union, that was 67-6. Unfortunately, we're heading in that direction again. Here's the 67-yarder by Vonksonit, the smallest player on the field, I can guarantee you that. And he almost took it to the house, shoved down inside the 7. Here's the touchdown from Peter Mao. He walks it in from 7 yards out. Mao, 6 carries for him, 43 yards. Not a lot to cheer about on the St. Mary's sidelines tonight. And Tony Franks and his staff is going to have their work cut out for them this week during the playoffs. And if you're St. Mary's, you just have to forget it and focus on the first round, but that's awfully hard to do when you get handled by your rival like this. And this will be the 3rd straight win by Lincoln over St. Mary's. 21-10 in 2000, 54-24 last year, and right now it's 55-6. Renard Camp. Short kick, Quarles on the fly at the 24. And Quarles is brought down by, it looks like, Nick O'Brien at about the 35. So O'Brien playing quarterback now has already had a receiving touchdown. And makes the tackle on special teams. St. Mary's has it at the 36 with still 15 minutes to play. New quarterback, it looks like. No, Mendoza. He's the second quarterback. Andrew Hamill was the starter much of the early part of the season for St. Mary's. Then Mendoza started a couple, and of course Enright started last week and tonight. Mendoza in there, the second quarterback of the night. He's already played a series. Unleashes one to Richard Dixon. Dixon has it, and Dixon down to about the 12. Dixon on the grab. He's had a big night. A 52-yard hookup from the 36 to about the 12. 52 yards. Nice toss by Mendoza on the reception by Dixon, who just got beyond the secondary. For Dixon tonight, his 5th catch, 115 yards, and he does have a touchdown. That's one positive for St. Mary's to build on, is the play of Dixon. He's been playing very well as of late. 4 touchdowns for the year. 3 receivers for Chris Mendoza to choose from. I formation behind him. First guy through is Alex Cook. Cook is stopped by Martin Ramirez. Cook gets to about the 6. 5 yards. Second down and 5. Talked about some of the other games tonight in the SJAA and the VOL. But some interesting games as well. One between Waterford and Brookside Christian. Each team without a win this year, so they're trying to come up with their first win. There's the VOL and the SJAA games tonight and tomorrow. Franklin and Edison concludes the regular season tomorrow. Cook again on second down. Fights closer to the goal line. Cook very close to a first down. St. Mary's can get a first down without scoring a touchdown. It is 3rd and 2. 3rd and 2 from about the 4. Quarles is the deep back. In front of him is Cook. Cook hit in the backfield and is dropped. Looked like Ross Randrup, the first man to get to him. And then Ashland Washington finished him. Can't say that for sure, but it did look like Randrup was the first man to get to him. Talked about Waterford and Brookside. Buhat Colony from the VOL has a bye this week. It was actually Matt Seamus, so glad we did see the replay. Appreciate that, guys. Wasn't Randrup, sorry, Ross. Matt Seamus again, the first man to get to Cook. He loses a couple, 4th and 4. St. Mary's will go for it, as you might expect, down 55-6. Mendoza hit as he throws. Pass almost intercepted by Noah St. Urban. Incomplete, and it goes over on downs to Lincoln. Mendoza hit as he tried to deliver. So Buhat Colony a bye this week. Actually, they're scheduled to play a game, but because they're so depleted, they decided not to play it, so they finished 0-9 in their first varsity season. Brookside and Waterford playing to see who gets their first win of the year. And then in the SJAA, Bear Creek and Stag 0-9 would be their second 0-10 season if they lose. They also were 0-10 in 2000, the year after they went 10-0 in the regular season. Of course, Bear Creek, I should say, won their first game of the year, but has not won in SJAA play. Lincoln runs it with Kamla Vonksinet. Gets a couple. Mighty bidding to get over 100 yards. He's at about 82 right now. And that will do it for 3/4 of play. It was 42-6 Lincoln at the break. They've scored twice here in the third quarter. The third quarter is beyond us as we play the final quarter of the regular season. 55-6 Lincoln Trojans on top big. 5 touchdowns tonight from Lewis Rankin. While we have a second, we'll go ahead and thank our friends over at Rick's New York Style Pizza. They're located at 4118 North Eldorado Street in Stockton. If you want to give them a call, 463-6339, 463-6339. 55-6 our score. Lincoln will have it on a second down. Lewis Rankin, in case you joined us late, 5 touchdowns in a quarter and a half a 94-yard kickoff return to start the game, a 70-yard run, an 85-yard run, a 9-yard reception, and a 65-yard touchdown run. Also, Nick O'Brien with a 26-yard reception in the first half for the Trojans. In a dominant first half, and Lewis Rankin was rarely touched. 4 teams in the postseason this year in the SJAA, after it had been 2 the last 3 years. In 2001, it was Lincoln and Franklin. In 2000, Lincoln and Franklin. So now Lincoln, their 3rd consecutive league championship. 99, it was Stag and St. Mary's. First time St. Mary's in the playoffs since that 99 season. And back in 98, St. Mary's, Lincoln, and Franklin. That was a championship game then, one that St. Mary's won 28-7. Right now, this is going to be a Lincoln win here in 2002. 2nd and 8. O'Brien keeps being driven forward. And we'll get to about the 10, 2, maybe 3 yards for the quarterback who's come in to relieve Brian Kornick, who played well. Didn't have to do much. Even Lewis Rankin didn't have to do much. We had him on Sports Talk, and he said in many games he didn't even break a sweat. And even though he scored 5 touchdowns, to tell you the truth, he probably didn't break a sweat tonight. And there is the mass exodus here on the St. Mary's side. Certainly not what people expected. You knew that St. Mary's was going to have to play a great game to win with as good as Lincoln is, but you wouldn't expect this. There is Vonksenet's 67-yard run. 3rd down and 5 upcoming here for the Trojans from about the 10. Up the middle with Vonksenet. There are the Happy Trojans. They are a very, very good team with Lewis Rankin right in the middle. Of course, they still have to win 4 playoff games if they want to be considered as good as the 2000 team that went 12-1-1. But I'll tell you right now, in the regular season, they have been much more dominant than any team in recent memory. The only team maybe that can draw any comparison is the 1997 Franklin team that went 10-0 and did not go to the postseason. The punt for the Trojans. The first time they punted, and it ends up in a fumble. Brunswick can't handle it, and it's recovered by Lincoln. The 4th fumble of the night. Edwin Dewhurst recovers it. Trojan pride, we are family from the Lincoln Boosters. Well, they are flipping good, too, I'll tell you that. So Lincoln punts for the first time all night, and it ends in a turnover, the 4th turnover by St. Mary's. Dewhurst there to cover it. 6 sacks, 4 fumbles against St. Mary's. Lincoln from the 43, their own, with 10 minutes left in the game. They'll keep running it. Mighty Vonksenet gets to midfield, 5-yard gain. 87 yards for him. Here in a quarter plus of action. See it one more time. Michael January director, Leo Gales, cutting the replays. Nick Lujan, as always, outstanding on the graphics. He's a former Trojan. There is Coach Byerly. There's Tyler Post, the quarterback coach, former Trojan in his own right. You see over to the far right, Jim Rubialis. But Coach Byerly just to the right. And there is the play. In his first year, his 4th in total, and Lincoln was a varsity assistant his first year after a longtime assistant he was in Southern California. 2nd and about 4 as Vonksenet got 6 on the last play. Right here, no gain for him. Down to 9 minutes to play in the game. A game that for all intents and purposes was over after Lewis Rankin returned the opening kickoff 94 yards. So really most of the playoff stuff decided except for the positioning tonight. Really just some of the 0-9 teams trying to get a victory. In case you're wondering about Merced, the number 1 seed from the CCC, they beat Davis last week for the number 1 seed. Their losses this year to Nevada Union, the non-league game. Of course, that's a Sacramento Power. We may see them in the section championship. And their league loss coming to Bayer. Vonksenet on 3rd down. He has the first down, gets across the 40, down to the 37. A gain of about 12, and we have him now at 99 yards unofficially. 9 carries for 99 for Mighty Vongsonet. See the run one more time. Nice inside run. Pretty good speed for Vongsonet on a very fast Lincoln Trojan team. They all fly. Down to 8 minutes to play in the game. 1st and 10. Sean Doherty running right. Doherty in the fog. Tripped up by Mario Navarrete. Doherty gets 5, maybe 6. There's Lewis Rankin talking to Jason Anderson. The record saw Coach Rubiales. Coach Byerly right there. That's a very, very, very good football team. Matt Seamus, not bad, number 36, among the best defensive players in the SJAA. Doherty looked like he actually got 4. I gave him 6, so 2nd and 6. Not much doing there for Vongsonet. Host of defenders bring him back. Nick O'Brien tried to help him out, a loss of a yard or 2. Let's see where it's spotted. It looks like a loss of a yard, so Vongsonet back to 98. 3rd down and 7 upcoming for the Trojans. Up 55-6. They led 42-6 at the half on 5 Lewis Rankin touchdowns. The 3rd time he scored 5 touchdowns this year. Can you believe that? Against Granite Bay and then last week against Franklin. He has 10 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. 31 for the year, 1,619 yards rushing. Down to 6.5 minutes. We'll be at Lincoln next week to watch Lincoln in either Davis, Turlock, or Atwater. They beat both Atwater and Turlock in their section playoff run back in 2000. Vongsonet, now he's over 100. He's shy of the 1st down, but picks up about 5, and we have him at 103. So a lot of hype for Lionel Hamilton at the start of the year and during the year, and deservedly so considering what he did last year, but far and away, Lewis Rankin is the best back in the area. Travell George probably 2nd, Courtney Smith 3rd. But Lewis Rankin, I think, has no peer this year in the SJAA. Now, when we get to the playoffs, we'll see about that. Hard to argue, though, with 31 touchdowns, 186 points, 1,619 rushing yards. Reverse angle here with 5.5 to go. 4th and 2 for Lincoln. Vongsonet. No matter what the angle is, it's a Trojan touchdown. Mighty Vongsonet rushes it in from 29 yards out. He has scored 2 touchdowns and now is up at 130 yards. There was a flag, but it was waved off, and Vongsonet has his touchdown, 61-6. Last year, 67-6, Manteca and East Union. We may have been lucky picking the games, but I guess we're not very good in the final regular season game. The rivalry games, you expect them to be close, but Vongsonet scores for the 2nd time. Noah St. Urban on Mighty Vongsonet, as in Mighty Mouse. St. Urban through the fog. He makes it. He's only missed 1 extra point tonight, 8 of 9. Mighty Vongsonet, 2 touchdowns, over 120 yards here in the 2nd half in relief of Lewis Rankin. They have combined, have Vongsonet and Rankin, for 7 touchdowns and 370 yards rushing on a 4th down play at the 30-yard line. And some people maybe say Lincoln's trying to run it up there, but that's not the case. They're at the 30. You can't kick a field goal there, nor could you punt. They just ran it with a 5'1" player, albeit a 5'1" player that's having a career night. And it is 62-6. And the field is almost completely engulfed in fog. In another Trojan victory. They're averaging over 50 points in their last 6 games heading into the postseason. Mao and Vongsonet. Mao with the touchdown, Vongsonet with 2, Rankin with 5, and Nick O'Brien with 1 to account for the Trojan scoring 9 touchdowns for them. 62-6. It was 42-6 at the break. Noah St. Urban kicks it off in the fog. Your guess is as good as mine as to who's returning. It's Thomas Quarles. Nice job by Mark Clanton to find him. Kyle Worley holds him up, gets some help to bring him down. O'Brien another play, and want to thank our camera people, as always, doing a great job. Sean Schrock, Nicole Ferran, Garrett Knapp, former Ram. Got to be tough for him. We'll let him hear it after this. There's the Lincoln side. Got to give Garrett some credit to go to that side as well. There is Vonksonet's home jersey. Those are going to be going for hundreds of dollars on eBay tonight. Down to 5 minutes. St. Mary's has it with Mendoza at quarterback. Just wonder what kind of effect this will have on the Rams, if they can bounce back next week in the playoffs. It seems that the SJAA is stronger than the CCC. Bad snap. Pass Mendoza. Ball's loose. Do the Lincoln Trojans have it for a 5th time on a fumble? As the players on pile, look like Quarles got to it. He does. All the way back to the 10-yard line. A loss of 16 on the bad snap. Week 10 for us of the high school football season, final regular season game. We showed you 15 different teams this year. 10, all 10 in the SJAA for the 6th consecutive year. 3 in the VOL, Manteca, East Union, and Sierra. And for good measure, throw in Jesuit and Vanden. We do it every year, get every team on, and then go from there. But it's going to become Lincoln TV again, and they've earned it. Mendoza looking for Dixon. Dixon goes up, can't make the play. Michael Johnson, the cover man there. There is the schedule. You see 3 shutouts in the first 4 weeks. Then we had 3 great ones in a row, the 11th, 18th, and 25th of October. And then 2 statements made by Lincoln on the 1st and the 15th. And heck, we could change the score of that 15th game. 62-6 right now, Lincoln. Last week, a big win for Tokay. And if they won and West won, it means a 3-way tie between those two and St. Mary's. St. Mary's would drop to the 4th seed based on overall record. All the teams would have a 6-2 league mark. But St. Mary's lost their opener, their only non-league game, the Jesuit, while West beat Deer Valley and Tokay beat Downey. Next year, that is going to change, apparently, in the bylaws for the SJAA. Quarles, a couple of yards for him. That does seem a bit unfair, of course, because Coach Tony Franks was saying then that doesn't give you incentive to play a tough team in your non-league game. Of course, a 10-team league, so you just play one non-league game. But at the same time, it didn't appear fair that Lincoln was the only team to beat Edison, and that game didn't matter in league standings. So had St. Mary's won this game, the teams would have been tied in overall record with 1 loss, but St. Mary's would have been the number 1 seed. Even though Lincoln had defeated Edison, St. Mary's had not. The games against Edison did not count in the SJAA standings. Collins just gets the kick away. It might have been touched. And will bounce out right around the 47. Lincoln will have it maybe one final time with 3:18 to play. And I will tell you this, I would not be surprised if St. Mary's wins next week in the playoffs. I'm not surprised at all Lincoln won tonight. I'm not even surprised Lincoln won big, but I am a little surprised it was 62-6. You see the bleachers virtually empty on the St. Mary's side. They were packed at the start of the game. The Lincoln side still filled, but you can't see any of the people because it's foggy, very foggy. Drive carefully, please. Nine touchdowns, 62 points for the Trojans. Mighty Vonkston, he scored 2 touchdowns here in the second half. That's the most recent. At the 47 for Lincoln, they start on St. Mary's side of the field and they jump. So Peter Mao was the man who jumped. Penalty goes against the Trojans. They've been more penalized tonight. They've turned it over just once, though. St. Mary's 4 times. Also want to thank Ray Naylor, the head groundsman here at St. Mary's. First of all, for painting the SJTV on the field that we used in our opener. And you can see the fog here. Can barely see the Lincoln sideline. And Ray always doing a great job. There it is. We appreciate it. He's done that for us before. Certainly he's not very happy with the outcome of this one either. We will see you next week, though, from Lincoln. And the Trojans will be in action against the 4th seed from the CCC. 3 wins to get you the section championship game, December the 13th at Stagg Stadium on the UOP campus. Lincoln won in overtime in 2000. They'd love to get there again. Here is Mighty Vonksonnet. Will he have the hat trick? Vonksonnet in the fog to the house. Mighty Vonksonnet scores 47 yards, and he's approaching 200 yards here in the second half. And it's 68-6. 47 yards from Vonksonnet. He has 3 touchdowns. Lincoln has 10. Last year, our final game of the year was 67-6 of the regular season. Right now, it's 68-6 this year. Very odd symmetry. Vonksonnet in the fog. And he almost has a deuce on the ground. And the knee doesn't touch down because he rolled on the defender. Here's St. Urban. No good. 8 of 10 on the extra points for him. 10 touchdowns for Lincoln, 68-6. Noah St. Urban probably a little tired from all the point afters. Reynard Camp kicked off a lot. And it's really shocking. Lincoln's been able to do this to a pretty good St. Mary's team. Not that they beat them, and not even that they beat them by much, because that's easily understandable the way Lincoln has been blowing people out in league, but maybe 31-14, 35-20, 35-10, but 68-6. You would never expect that. Lincoln's high previously was 55-0 against Stagg, and the most points yielded previously by St. Mary's was 25 in their loss to West. So what a rivalry game. This is one that Lincoln and all their players will probably remember forever. 5 touchdowns for Lewis Rankin, 3 from Mighty Vonksonnet. Combined, they have 450 yards on the ground and 8 touchdowns. And you really feel for the St. Mary's kids. But nonetheless, you have to be impressed with the Lincoln kids and their staff. St. Urban, glad the fog wasn't this bad the whole game. Fair catch by R.T. Harada, the team's center. So he touches the ball in a different way than he usually does. Down to 1:44. And among the most surreal games I've ever seen. The touchdowns from Rankin notwithstanding the fog, and 5'1" Mighty Vonksonnet scoring 3 second-half touchdowns. A little bit of everything. And Lincoln now will improve to 14-7 on TV and 10-2 in their last 12. St. Mary's now loses for the 4th time in a row on TV, and they dropped to 7-5 since 1997. Well, there's 22 players on the field, but I can't tell them apart. It's a run with Thomas Quarles. Quarles, who we didn't see early at the tailback position, has played here. And if Jeff Johnson can't go next week, I'm guessing he may play a lot in the backfield. But you have to hope for St. Mary's that Johnson will be back so they can be close to full strength against most likely Merced. So that'll be a long road trip as well for St. Mary's. Probably going to take an hour, 15, hour and a half by bus to go down 99 and get to Merced, if indeed St. Mary's is the 4th seed, and they would be if both West and Tokay won, losing the 3-way tie. Here's a first down with 1:20 left in the game. Quarles, negative yardage, ball came loose. Ross Gunter, the tackler. Maybe 2 plays left before this one is done. Lincoln, now in the last 3 years, improves to 32-4-1. They have not lost in their last 22 SJAA games, 23 if you count the Edison game that did not count this year. Only slight blemish in there, a loss to Franklin back in 2019 at Stagg Stadium. Quarles runs to the outside. Worley got him first, and then Enrique Monroy hit him hard. And one play left before this one is all over. Trojans can celebrate a reverse of the 98 game on this field for the championship when St. Mary's won 28-7. This one is Lincoln in a runaway, literally 68-6. Lewis Rankin, 350 yards of all-purpose offense, all in the first half. 5 touchdowns. It started with a 94-yard kick return. One final snap for St. Mary's. A run with Quarles. Worley gets them, and that is it. The Lincoln Trojans are 9-1 and 8-0 in SJAA play. About an impressive performance, as you will see, 68-6. 3 touchdowns for Mighty Vonson at 5 for Lewis Rankin, 1 for Salpeter Mao, and 1 for Nick O'Brien. Yes, indeed, the Trojans are number 1, and we will see the number 1 seed next week against either Davis, Turlock, or Atwater. The run to the section championship begins now, and with that man, Lewis Rankin, on your team, chances are pretty good you can make that run. 68-6 Lincoln. For our entire crew, Michael January, Leo P.J. Gales, Nick Lujan, Sean Schrock, Garrett Knapp, Nicole Ferran, and Mark Clanton, I'm Eric Alves saying goodnight from the Thompson Sports Complex. The looks say it all. Trojans big. They are the champions. 68-6.
This program was a presentation of AT&T Broadband's SJTV.
San Joaquin Television.
SJTV.